going to analyze the data and the video for your last session at our last event to figure out if the brakes were working okay or not. So let's start by showing you what I'm looking at here. First, this is the lap right before the one with the incident. It is blue, so everything marked in blue. The lines anywhere, they're going to be uh, the previous lap, the good lap, let's call it, and then red right here. Anything red around this area, anywhere, any trace of data is the bad lap. So that's how we're going to compare stuff. The question is, were the brakes working properly or not? And that's what we're trying to find out here. So we're comparing the lap before, right here, if you see my mouse, and the last one that scared the crap out of you right here. All right, the data we're looking at is the brake, when to see when the brake was being pressed, brake pedal, the actual speed of the car, uh, the accelerator pedal position, when were you getting off or on the gas, what was the steering angle, the steering wheel, were you doing the same steering inputs, and then uh, to see if we can actually see any discrepancies, anything weird happening, we're looking at the speed of each individual wheel. We have front left, front right, rear left, rear right. So we're going to compare those things and try to find out anything that can tell us whether there was an issue with the brakes or not. So let's start with the brake pedal. So looking at the brake pedal over here, as we pull the data, we're going to get to when did you press the brake pedal. And that happened on the good lap right here where the blue mark is. So we'll stop it right there, which happens at 1 minute 34.54 of the lap. If you look at the video right here, you see that the brake light and the data, it's barely showing up because that's when you actually pressed the the brake pedal. Physically, that's when you did it. This moment recording that if you can see right there is right at the 2 marker. Look right there, 2 marker, right? That's when you press the brake pedal. On the red lap, if we continue moving this, the actual pressing of the brake pedal, looking at it right here, happened at 134.885. That's almost half a second after you did it on the previous lap. And that is that delta right here. See right there? That delta between these two. That's how much later you waited to press the brakes. Now, here, when you press the brake on this one in the blue lap, you're doing 139 miles an hour and then you hit the brake. Here, not only were you farther into the brake zone, if you can see here, the number 1 is not even visible when you hit the brakes. So you have to be right there. I imagine the brake marker is right there. Let's make sure that that's the case. Back this up. So yeah, there's the 1 marker and you haven't hit the brake yet. How can you tell it's 0 as opposed to a 1? 1 means brake pedal is pressed, 0 is not. And there's the 1 marker right there. So let's see where you are when this turns into a 1. Let's look right there. When does that turn into a 1? And that is right, clicking the slowly just to get when it actually happened. And it's right there, 134.902. So it's clearly uh, half a second after the fact, and you can see here there is no more number 1 marker. So it happened, that delta right there, right here, that's how much longer it took you to hit the brake pedal. And you were in a different place on track, right? When you, if you look here in this area, that's where the compression is. for the brake zone. And if we move at the bad lap, look at the bad lap. Look, that compression zone is gone, or you're on it, but you haven't pressed the brake pedal yet. You're probably on it or just past, and the brake pedal is barely being pressed right now. So there's a difference when the brake pedal was hit. You can tell right here, this one's you're full on it at the one marker. Here you haven't even started. The one marker is not anywhere to be found. So that's the first thing. The first difference is right here in the data. When did you actually hit the brake pedal? At the difference in speed, 134 miles an hour as opposed to 141, and you're farther into the brake zone. Pedal position for throttle actuator for the gas pedal is right here. You can see the difference. You can tell around here when you let off the gas here and how much longer you stayed on the gas on the red here. So not only were you waiting to press the brake pedal, you were still on the gas going up. So that's another difference here. Now the rate of the deceleration is the line going down here, as you can see. The rate is very similar all the way down to the point that actually become equal, but you can see that the car is slowing down at the same rate. It's just farther into the brake zone in a different place, right there. So that's what you got to look in here. That looking at this data trace, it looks like the brakes are braking no different than the lap before as far as decelerating the car. At some point they meet and they are at about 71 miles and 70.6 miles. About a mile difference here in speed. Now let's look at the steering angle. Steering angle is another good thing to look at here. Look at the point that you start slowing down. Here the steering angle is similar, but then you start making movements that are more erratic here, the red line, as opposed to the other one that is very clearly just turning in the downward direction as opposed to the other one. And what that tells me is in here is that you're having the brakes are, I don't know that they're locked, but the brakes are preventing you from getting good steering. It looks like the car is understeering right here. It's going in this direction right there, but the steering wheel is going in this direction. That means you're trying to go left, but the car is pointing in the right direction, and you're trying to compensate to do that. So that right there makes all this steering angle stuff be all erratic. Finally, it turns this way, and the car starts going. You can see that here. But it's completely different than the smooth operation you would normally do in the blue line. Now, looking at the individual wheels, is there something? The wheels are always going to be at different speeds, but they should be close enough. 54, 52, 54, 53, as opposed to 45, 28, 45, and 36. So here, um, there's a big difference in speed between these two on the front right wheel. Perhaps it is that wheel locked up, because look at the difference here, and that's what you can tell in the red right there, all that action for that specific front right wheel. Something is going on here. Uh, as far as the speed is going down, but it's going down faster than uh, than the other ones. So that means either that wheel locked up because it is at some point very slow, but ABS must have kicked in that lets it, roll again and not just lock up. Um, but the point, I guess the most important piece here is that the rate of the car slowing down from the blue line to the red line is exactly the same, meaning the car is decreasing speed at the same rate as on the blue lap. It seems like at some point the data stop recording for the red lap right here, so we can see the rest, but this is not important anymore. Here it's just when you're going down the hill and after the turn, but the important part is all the acceleration right here. And you can tell that all the wheels um, were slowing down the same at the same rate lap to lap. It's just in a different place on the track, carrying more speed, but the rate of deceleration is the same. As a matter of fact, on your good lap, the wheel speed everywhere as you're decelerating um, on the good lap is 56 miles an hour in this area, as opposed to 51 on the bad one, 54 to 49, 55 to 48, 54 to 49. So you were actually slower. The car was braking harder on the bad lap, but that is you probably pressing the pedal harder just to try to slow down the car, right? Um, which results in a slower speed uh, than one place to another one, and that seems to be the case that we're not seeing any issues with the brakes per se, um, because all the data shows that the car was slowing down. It was just not in you were not in full control because you were in a different place on the track, going a little faster